I was on the road too often, though I was often in town. And I come from a tribe of movers, so it was nice to settle down. I got a good garden dug. I stretched out on a good, clean rug. And I know you won't believe that I'm happy here. Hello everybody, thank you for tuning in. I had no idea how many people had been hanging out to listen to my music, and today's Facebook experiments have been incredibly rewarding. I miss you guys so much. I used to be at festivals, 5 times a year, and I would go to little events and I'd play music all the time, and I really miss incidental cuddles, and I know you guys do too because you've all been telling me today. And it's very nice to be able to see you again, and it's especially nice to be in this beautiful place, the Tap Room in Castlemaine, where they do pizza and they do amazing beer and they do great wine. And I'm surrounded at the moment by an exhibition of the artworks of Rex Watts, and though he passed away recently, I feel very happy to have him here in spirit with his artworks with me, and I hope that you guys get some of that as well. And I'm going to restart this song because we had a phone call in the middle of that, and I really want to. Sorry. I was on the road too often, though I was often in town. I come from a tribe of movers, though it's nice to settle down and get a good garden dug. Stretched out on a good clean rug, and I know you won't believe that I'm happy here. This shed in Castlemaine has got no view. I can't see the Mara moon. I can't see the Mara moon or the stars from Buffalo, but I'm gonna build a fire when I'm finished in the garden. I'm gonna call my lover, tell them come around. I'm gonna build a fire in the garden. I'm gonna call my lover, tell them come around. You can love the road, and you can love all the stories. You can love the fame and all the glory, but pretty soon that fades. Then you turn for home, looking for a flame, but soon you find you have to light your own. So even when you start, you get home, you gotta build a fire. When you're finished in the garden, call your lover, tell them come round. Go and build a fire when you're finished in the garden. Go and call your lover, tell them come around. We have an audience. I didn't tell you guys there is an audience here. But it's very nice to have an audience. I've really missed the company of small events, and I know that everybody has But I think it's important to be able to say stuff out loud like, I missed you guys so much. I'm hearing that Marilla is watching from England. I miss Marilla. I miss England. Lately I've been thinking about this little piece of Blue John. Blue John is a stone that you get only in a particular place in England in the north. And it's called Blue John because it's blue and yellow. And I found a piece on my walk. It's very, very small, but I've been thinking about getting it set into a piece of jewellery. And so when I wear it, I can remember my friends from the north of England. But I haven't got there yet. Of course, you know, in our time of COVID, I really have no excuse except to research people and the arts on the internet, as you all should do. There are some fantastic artists, and if you're looking for people to check out and local people to buy from, you can check out the Castlemaine Artists Market, who share our local artists all the time and their websites. One of my favourite artists is a woman called Siobhan Kelly. She's a sculptor. She's a sculptor. She works with very large pieces a lot of the time, but she's always artistic in every aspect of her life. And when I went to visit her, I discovered that her kitchen was covered in jars of wheatgrass that she'd taken from a property. Before she mowed the lawn, she thought the wheatgrass and all the different kinds of native grasses mixed in were so beautiful that she had to take samples. And she's got all these bunches of dried grass in jam jars lined up along her kitchen window. And on the windowsill, when the sun comes up or the sun goes down, they glow with this magic. And Siobhan loves live music, and she goes out all the time, and she'll go to these gigs all over Melbourne in these paint-covered overalls. And when I say overalls, I don't mean like trendy things. I mean like workman's overalls, like blue, heavy cotton, studded, beautiful pieces. And they show how hard she works. And she finishes work on some sculpting or in fixing someone's property or looking after somebody, and she goes to a gig. And she's not on Facebook, so she's probably not watching this. I'm going to have to send her a video, but she looks at the local paper for the local gig guide, and she picks one from that, and she goes out. And every so often she'll throw a party. My friend Miss Kelly is always smiling. She got a little bit of something good, yeah. Her little house is so beguiling, just around the corner in the neighborhood, yeah. Look out, ladies, here comes Erin. She's bringing those two small boys along, yeah. Somebody's eyeing off that old guitar, but nobody's playing yet, the radio's on. You know we will all be singing soon. You know we will all be singing soon. My friend Miss Kelly is always laughing. She got a little bit of something good, yeah. Break out the salad and the pink champagne. There's always somebody bringing around some food. You know we will all be singing soon. You know we will all be singing soon. Little bit of wheatgrass in a jar, a broken mirror and a pink soap bar, a frilly apron on a kitchen chair. Yeah, you know we will all be singing. You know we will all be singing. Come on in, we'll all be singing soon. My friend Miss Kelly is always smiling. She got a little bit of something good, yeah. Her little house is so beguiling, just around the corner in the neighborhood, yeah. Just around the corner in the neighborhood, yeah. Just around on the corner in the neighborhood. Oh, wow. Across the road from my house in Castlemaine, there's a coffee stand, and sometimes that's the only interaction I have all day. It's really nice that there's a coffee stand. It's a little portable thing, and it gets wheeled out of the local barber shop. We have a barber shop in Castlemaine, old school. You don't get that in Craigieburn. 2. We do have 2, yes. But lately, my adventures have been limited to my block. That's because I'm lucky enough to have both an IGA and a Whole Foods shop, and a barber and an op shop, all within spitting distance. It's pretty great. But at the local coffee stand, sometimes we get to hang out and have a chat while we're waiting for the milk to froth. And the guy who makes the coffee, he's got a wife and 2 kids, and they're really small. I think they're both under 6. And the toddler is obsessed with one CD, and they can't move the CD out of the car. The only CD they've been playing in the car since January this year is a CD from Michael Waugh, my very good friend, an amazing Australian songwriter. And I didn't know this, and so for weeks I was just talking to these 2 little kids about their favourite songs and how they really love Australian music. And then one day I got them to sing me some of the words from their favourite CD, and I realised I've been all over Australia playing these songs with this guy, and they just can't get his words out of their heads. And so I wrote to Michael Waugh recently and said, "Hi, you'll never guess, but these 2 kids under 6 who are Australian and Thai, I think, are obsessed with your music." And he burst into tears, as Michael Waugh likes to do, and he wrote back to me and said, "You really made my day, that was so great." And I remembered all the really good times I had with Michael Waugh that I will never ever forget and will always come with me everywhere I go. Michael Waugh helped me write this song. It took a long time to take these verses and put them to music, and he really helped me do that. Because Michael Waugh, among other things, is a fantastic drama teacher. So I'm going to say thanks to Michael Waugh for helping me write this song. It's called The Lime Tree. The lime tree will grow in the garden at yours, near the apricot, lavender, and the sweet rose. It's plain, but it's young. The flavor will come. And who knows how deep the roots will grow? Who knows how deep the roots will grow? The leaves smell as sweet all the year round as the herbs that grow thick and green on the ground. The leaves will bring though the thorn often scratches, the juices can sting. And who knows how deep the roots will grow? Who knows how deep the roots will grow? Who knows how deep the roots will Those branches will shelter us all from the cold and the sweltering heat. The limes will bring sun and soil to your blood, and the leaves will bring shade to that wooden bench seat. And who knows how deep the roots will grow? 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 The lime tree will grow in the garden at yours, near the apricot, lavender, and the sweet rose. My friend Michael also wrote a really good song about women's football. Around the time he wrote that and started performing it, I was going to a lot of festivals, and I saw my very good friend Scott Cook, and he had written this fantastic song, "Fellas, get out the way. Fellas, get out the way. We've had our turn, we've had our say. Fellas, get out the gate." And I realized that all of the men in my life were writing fantastic feminist anthems, and I had not written one. It's a highly embarrassing state of affairs for an outspoken, societally proclaimed feminist. I don't think I ever said I was a feminist, but my mum had this really great quote on the wall when I was a kid. Said something like, "I myself do not claim that I am a feminist. I only know that people call me feminist when I express views that differentiate me from those of a doormat." Thank you. The one woman in the room gave a giggle. Thanks, Annabelle. And anyway, I had a little crack at writing a feminist anthem, but the only thing I could think of was the women's AFL. I really hate women's football. No, that's not right. Hang on. I hate football, but I'm conflicted because I really love that women play AFL, and I think that's really cool, but I'm confused because I don't understand why you would spend money on a capitalist organisation that hates women. But I really love women's football. I'm really confused. Anyway, so I wrote a little song. It's only 3 verses, and if you want to learn it and add to it, you are definitely most welcome. But do or die, you gotta pay the price. You can play rough, but ladies, you must still be nice. You're playing in the big leagues now. You survived the night games, now you're in the big league. The full season is 7 rounds. It's short, but it makes a change from the ladies' lounge. You're playing in the big leagues, and now that's how it is. You survived the night games, and now you're in the big leagues. scared you couldn't play at all. They just think you can't hold the ball like a man can. That's how it is. You survived the night games, now you're in the big leagues. Do or die, you pay the price. You can play rough, but ladies, you must still be nice. You're playing in the big leagues now. You survived the night games, now you're in the big leagues. You survived the night games, now you're in the big leagues. I got some friends out there at the moment who are not doing so well. Big props to them for calling and letting me know that they're not doing well. And for everybody else who's out there not doing so well this evening, the trick is to hold on. I sang this song in a pub in Macedon once, and the next time I went back, someone had tattooed the words "slowly, slowly" onto their arm, and I think it's definitely a good mantra for life. If you want to sing along to this one, the key words are slowly, 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 slowly. Jacob slept alone that night, planned his day by morning light, and he kept his dreams illuminated on a graphic designer's table. Slowly, 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 Jacob said. Came out drinking once a week, or his friends could talk a blue streak. All the ladies overlooked him, his best mates overtook him, but slowly, 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 Jacob said. Slowly, 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 Jacob said, good things come to those who wait. Hold on. Good things come to those who wait. Hold on. Jacob's full of good advice, doles it out most every night, yeah. All you have to do is listen, take a little time. Try to eat right, get some sleep, exercise, and then you'll find that come the morning, you're doing fine. Slowly, 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 Jacob said. Slowly, 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 Jacob said. Thank you. I think that we're down to one audience, but that's okay. I'm appreciative. If you're wondering how all this is organised, it's mostly down to the wizardry of Doug Falconer, who is the mainstay of the tap room at the Shed Shaker down here in Castlemaine. There is a huge team of people who make it work, and they're all fabulous and interesting, and usually artists or haberdashers. But it's definitely worth coming down and meeting people. And if you live locally, you can have a pizza delivered. I don't know if everybody knows about this. It's quite a thing. You can order online, or you can come down and order and wait in your car while they make your pizza. But it's a really lovely place, and I'm very grateful that it's around, because we've had many lovely nights here. In fact, I moved to Castlemaine because of a gig that I did in Castlemaine at the Shed Shaker tap room. Yeah, definitely. Some of you will be watching from the Otherwise Quiet Room page. An Otherwise Quiet Room is a web series that I make with a team of people where I get to interview artists and venue managers, and we also sing a few songs together. The last season we made was all at the Merry Creek Tavern on High Street in West Garth, which is technically Northcote, but people who live there don't call it Northcote. And our very first episode featured a really fantastic blues singer called Benny Walker. Benny's got an amazing voice and has been taking the blues world by storm. And I got to sing this song with him. And at the end of it, I was very proud of myself, and it was the first time I'd ever played this song. I had to start writing songs. I was running out of material to share on An Otherwise Quiet Room. But my mum came up to me and she said, "You wrote me a song. It's really beautiful. Thank you so much." And it wasn't until she said that I realised that this song is all about a house that we used to have when I was very small in Smeaton, which is not that far away from here. Half an acre is all you need. We can grow enough to feed you and me. We can keep our own company, living on okra and casserole. Muddy Waters on the radio. You keep a candle on that old pine table. I keep a crystal in the sash window, living on okra and casserole. Stone fruit and citrus and raspberry pie. In paradise, no hocus pocus, you don't have to try. Living on okra and casserole. Half an acre is all you need. We can grow enough to feed you and me. Keep our own company, living on okra and casserole. Muddy Waters on the radio. You keep a candle on that old pine table. I keep a crystal in the sash window, living on okra and casserole. Living on okra and casserole. Living on okra and casserole. It's very nice to be able to play for people again. I've played 2 shows this year. It's very strange for me. But I've been trying to expand my mind a little. I started studying, and I started doing that mostly because I realized I was getting a little stagnant, and I wasn't learning in the right ways. I was kind of learning from documentaries or from the press, and I think we've all seen this year that the press is not that reliable. So, big shout out to all the people who are writing investigative journalism and publishing it any way they can with the most true sources that they can find. Thank you to all you people. You're fighting the good fight, and there's not a lot of gratitude out there for you guys, but we love you. We few, we happy few. Once upon a time, I happened upon a beautiful walk across a footbridge in Tasmania. I was trailing with a very new lover behind a group of people who were chattering merrily, leaving the festival to go back to their accommodation from the Cygnet Folk Festival. And my new lover and I, we stopped when they stopped, and they stopped because somebody in their group was a very intelligent scientist type person who had learnt a lot about Indigenous culture. And they had recently been learning all about how Australian Indigenous people looked at the stars. And from a little distance and heavily distracted by my new lover, I got to listen to the story of the constellation of the Emu. And I totally fell in love with the story and the moment, and I realized that from the footbridge, if you look down, all of the stars were reflected with perfect clarity in the still water below the footbridge. So in this song, there's a line: we stood on the footbridge under the emu. That's about the stars. Stars above and stars below. We went in space. That was the reflection from the water. Your loving hands around my... Well, I think you guys can figure it out from here on in. But the emu in the song is about the Indigenous awareness of the stars and how they used to tell the stories of the stars. We stood on the footbridge under the emu, stars above and stars below, your loving hands beneath mine, your loving fingers on my bones, the loving lips that kissed my neck, and the loving arms around me. The loving arms around me felt like home. Now is our springtime, and we've both been through cold months, but we both survived, and it didn't hurt too much. Now in our time of earthquake and flood, I feel you in my blood, I feel you in my bones. Saffron and sloe are the palette of winter. Crimson and gold are the foil and the ribbon. When pink and green of springtime come, the red and gold have come and gone. We stood on the footbridge under the emu, stars above and stars below, your loving hands beneath my lungs and your loving fingers on my bones, the loving lips that kissed my neck and your loving arms around me. Your loving arms around me felt like. But if I am free to love another, then let me be until I'm new. I'm not a portrait from a summer life or a postcard from a band and crew. Menus and memories around me and nothing left inside. The nothing left inside me turns me. I lived for a long time in a share house in Carlton on Faraday Street. And there will be a small percentage of people out there listening tonight who go, you lived at Faraday. Because it was that kind of house, it was famous. I had a friend in his 60s who came around once to see somebody else in the house. I didn't realise that we were mutual friends. And I came downstairs and I was shocked, kind of to discover my friend sitting at our kitchen table. And as I made a cup of tea and we were all chatting about how amazing it is to have such a small world, he looked around and he was kind of tripped out for a bit. He went, no, this is definitely it. Yeah, this is the place. And our kitchen wall at that time was a big graffiti wall. We left paints and pens and things around for everybody to add their mark. And he took up a pen and he wrote on the wall, I was here when they took Whitlam down. Turned out that my share house had been a share house for 30-something years and he lived there during the time of Gough Whitlam. I was completely shocked and amazed and entranced by this idea. Nobody in the house at that time had been there when he lived there, but... But it was a consistent share house that whole time, and it was always full of artists and musicians. And mostly our lounge room was a PA storage unit, and every so often I would come home and I would find someone very famous sleeping on our couch. Tried not to be starstruck. But I moved there because my ex-boyfriend was moving out and the room was available. And then I realised I was moving into my ex-boyfriend's house. That's into his bedroom. It's really awkward. So I decided that I would have to make it new. And this was not a bad thing because, as I said, it had been a share house for a very long time. So I bought a whole lot of paint. And when I say I bought a whole lot of paint, what I did was I acquired it freely from people who had leftover paint. And I had this beautiful cream paint with a pearly sheen. And I tried to prep the walls, but it was pointless because they were so covered in decades worth of other people's blue tack from posters long gone. And in the end I gave up and I painted over the blue tack. And I never splurged on a curtain, so at night on my pearly paint, the street light from MacArthur Street out the back of our house would come through my window and hit all of the lumps of blue tack under this pearly paint, and it would become a starry constellation in my beautiful share house. And anyway, I wrote a song for Faraday Street, and it goes like this. I am painting slow and ever thicker coats of paint upon the windowsill that once was yours is now my room. The walls and doors are shiny white now, shiny white now. A brilliant white that picks up all the pretty colors of my pretty dresses hanging up. Oh, hanging up. I painted over that greasy black stain you left by your hand, left by your head above the mattress where you slept. And I left the blue tag on. Blue tag constellation. Blue tag constellation. Blue tag constellation. Well, I knew that you would leave me here, but I told myself I didn't. I should not have held on so tight. I was like someone's little sister, like someone's second cousin. I was like someone's little sister. Had to join the party far too early. Had to leave before it really got interesting. I painted over that greasy black stain you left by your head, left by your hand above the mattress where you slept. And I left the blue tack on. Blue tack constellation. Blue tag constellation. Blue tag constellation. Blue tag constellation. Marilla did help me paint the room. Marilla and Roz. We had many lovely hours drinking champagne and painting the windowsill. Some of these songs are quite old now but have never really properly been released. And I do want to promise you guys that I'm working on releasing them in a proper recorded format. But I can't make any promises about when that will happen. But this one has been recorded and hopefully will come out at some point. And it's written about my friend from my very early teenage years. My father had a friend who had an abusive boyfriend, and her story really stuck with me because one day I asked how she was, and it turned out that she was in jail because she had been in an altercation and her partner had died. And anyway, it all came out in the press, and it turned out that when she was taken to prison, when she was taken to the police station and then to prison, the bruises that he had left on her arms were so vivid that there were handprints on her elbows, and what had happened was he had challenged her to kill him, and she did. It's a really complicated situation. It happens quite a lot in Australia, and there are a lot of women who end up facing unreasonable jail sentences because of the convoluted way that we handle our legal system, more than because of what they did. And something we need to keep talking about, especially now when everything is especially behind closed doors. There were bruises on my elbows when they finally came through the door. He was stretched out at the table, most of his blood on the floor. There were bruises on my elbows, but I never said a word. I only said I warned him. I warned him, I warned him. I warned him it could happen, though I swore it never would. Bruises on my cheekbones when they locked me in my cell. I guess they used to that here, public sign of private hell. There were bruises on my cheekbones, but they couldn't make me tell. I only said I warned them. I warned him, I warned him. I warned him it could happen, though it should have turned out well. On the wall are the ones he left last spring when he came crawling back again with promises that he could change. We would be happy for the last time, just like the first time we met. And when we moved into this house, I thought I'd never shed another tear, but they want me to tell everyone the story. This is not the kind of thing you write down. I don't know what I would tell anybody. After all, they only said I warned him. I warned him, I warned him. There were bruises on my elbows when they finally came through the door. When I got here, nobody spoke to me, but everybody knew bruises can be bolder than my voice has ever been. But I only said I warned him. I warned him, I warned him. I warned him it could happen, though I swore. I warned him it could happen, though it should. I warned him it could happen, though I swore it never would. Oh, thanks, Doug. It's been a long time since I played. I'm forgetting chords and stuff. But that just goes to show how great it is that I get to do this. And everything's coming back now. Thanks for having me, Jack. You've been working really hard in the other room there, but I guess now everyone's had their pizzas, and we're coming up to closing time and the last couple of songs here. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to buy an album, I still have a couple of copies of the Northcote Sessions, and I have a lot of copies of an album that I made with Layla Fibbins and Alicia Mansour. Layla has just released her own album, which is bloody fantastic. She's been very much a sideshow bride. And when I say that, I mean she's been part of a duo called the Sideshow Brides for a long time. But it's fantastic. She's released her own thing. It's through 30 Mil Records, where we recorded The Wishing Well with Alicia Mansour. And you can get a copy of either Layla's album, my album, or The Wishing Well, which we made with Alicia, by going to our Bandcamp pages. This isn't quite the last song, but I'm going to play this second last because it's not mine. It's by a woman called Iris Dement, who's a fantastic singer-songwriter from America. She's great. And I just want to say a little disclaimer here. Castlemaine is not the town in this song. Castlemaine is thriving. In fact, I think it's only getting stronger with the way things are going. And I'm very, very happy to be living here now. And you know the sun's sinking fast, and just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Well, go on now and kiss it goodbye, but you hold on to your lover 'cause your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sinking down on our town, on our town? Good night. Up the street beside the red neon light, that's where I met my baby on a hot summer night. Yeah. He was the tender and I ordered a beer. It's been 40 years and I'm still sitting here. I can see the sun sinking fast, yeah, just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Well, go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your lover 'cause your heart's bound to die. Here I had my babies and I had my first kiss. I walked down Main Street in the cold morning mist. Over there is where I bought my first car, and I turned over once, but then I never went far. And I can see the sun sinking down, just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Well, go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your lover 'cause your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun is sinking down on our town, on our town? Good night. I buried my mama and I buried my pa. They're over there beside the pretty brick wall. I bring them flowers about every day, but I just gotta cry when I think what they say. 'Cause I sit on the porch, I watch the lightning bugs fly, but I can't sleep too well. I got tears in my eyes. I leave tomorrow, but I don't wanna go. I love you, my town, you'll always live in my soul. I can see the sun sinking fast, just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Well, go on now and kiss her goodbye, but I'll hold to my lover 'cause my heart's bound to die. The sun's sinking down on my town, on my town. Go on now, say goodbye to my town, my town. Good night. Oh, good night. I've had so much fun. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're local to Castlemaine, please order a pizza next week and join us with a bottle of wine. Can you guys do takeaway alcohol at the same time as the pizza? Wow! So you can have a 6-pack of Shed Shaker beer and pizza and a concert on a Friday, just like we used to. Only you have to type really fast if you want to have a conversation. Yeah. No, I did say local. It'd be, I mean, I would accept that challenge. I would try and take a pizza all the way to London. I'm not sure if it would be edible. I did get my banjo back from Glasgow this year. That was exciting. Anyway, I digress. Thank you so much for listening. My name's Mandy Connell. You can find albums online. There's stuff on Spotify if you're evil and you don't want to pay musicians. And but otherwise, please continue to support all your local artists and your local businesses. They need you now more than ever. Happy songs, man. Happy songs. Postcard that you wrote to me, you talked about the ocean. You said that it was pretty. You talked about the blues and greens, but I don't see it like you do. I don't see it like you do. Since you moved across the ocean, you took away my daily routine, a picture in still motion. I'm still where I've always been, and I don't see it like you do. I don't see it like you do, but I like it when you write to me these letters. I don't see it like you do. I don't see it like you do, but I like it when you write to me these colorblind man's lullabies. On the postcard that you wrote to me, you talked about the ocean. You said that it was pretty. You talked about the blues and greens, but I don't see it like you do. I don't see it like you do. I like it when you write to me though, these colorblind man's lullabies. I don't see it like you do. I don't see it like you do, but I like it when you write to me these colorblind man's lullabies. Enjoy your night. Keep writing to each other. I'll see you soon.